Yummy is a brand new Shudder original, and it's a zombie flick. So some people will immediately be turned off by that, and it's a zombie horror comedy. Now, I don't want to make it seem like this is some like silly, ridiculous zombie comedy where they're like purely focusing on like slapstick kind of comedy. It's not like that, but it is a horror comedy, no doubt about it. It gets serious in places, and the overall tone of it is just like a real even blend between horror and comedy. So I think that they do that very well. Now, what this film is about: a couple goes to a plastic surgeon because the girlfriend in the relationship wants a breast reduction. And of course, everyone's trying to talk her out of it. Why would you want to, spit in the face of God's work, or whatever the hell they get at in this? All the guys are like, just, this is blasphemy to them because she has these enormous, amazing tits in this. And she's like, I don't want them anymore. I have back problems. And fuck, I mean, I totally understand where she's coming from. I personally don't have huge tits that give me back problems, but I can assure you I do have horrible back problems. And if, although I don't think I'd get a dick reduction if it helped my back. I don't think any guy would. So maybe I don't understand where she's coming from. Anyway, so when they get there, the boyfriend goes off with an orderly or somebody in the hospital, and they stumble upon a patient who is zombified. They release that patient, and the patient wreaks havoc in the hospital, and zombie madness ensues, of course. Now, I quite enjoyed this. I thought this was pretty fun. I had a good amount of laugh out loud moments. I liked the characters a decent amount. There's things that didn't work for sure. This isn't a perfect movie by any means. And I don't know if I'd watch it again. I might throw it on for somebody. Like if somebody came over, I don't think I'd watch it on my own again, but I think I'd watch it with somebody. Somebody was like, hey, you got like a recommendation for, I really like the zombie comedy subgenre. I would throw this in the rotation. There's a few zombie comedies that I really enjoy. I've mentioned them on the channel many times. But I would throw this into the lineup of fun zombie comedies that have some ridiculously silly moments, but they also have some ridiculously sad moments. Like, I definitely want to give anything away, but at the end of this movie, I just kind of sat there and was like, wow, they don't have movies like that very often. So I thought, overall, I was really pleased with this one. The zombie subgenre in itself is hard to recommend because I know so many people are just tired of it, although I have personally stated many times that I think zombie films have been excellent as of late. In the last 5 years, I've seen tons and tons of great ones that have put totally new spins on the subgenre. Then there's that subgenre that is zombie comedies. And that's an even more niche audience because a lot of people are like, oh my God, give it up. Shaun of the Dead was good. But then since then, they just went overboard with it. And if you're that kind of person, if you're just kind of over the whole zombie comedy subgenre in general, then this probably isn't going to be for you. But if you're a fan of that and you're open to it, I do think that there's some really fun new things here. There's a really funny sequence in this that has to do with a dick enlargement. I thought that was all ridiculously over the top, but really, really funny. There is a decent amount of gore, though I will say there is some shoddy CGI, but it really isn't that distracting. There's some, and yeah, it's there, and you go, it doesn't look good. But it never was so distracting that I was like, Jesus, man, why'd they do this? They should have went more practical. I never really felt that. I always think they should go more practical in horror for sure, but I never left a scene thinking nah, that scene was shit because of the CGI, So it was good. I also like the portrayal of the zombies in this. They seem to be a little more discombobulated. They had a little bit harder of a time keeping control of their motor skills. So a lot of them couldn't even walk. They were crawling on the ground really fast, but they were crawling around because they were brain dead, so that they could barely function in their bodies. And I thought that was pretty cool. the characters are pretty well developed enough that you feel a variance between them. Like I knew who everyone was and what their motives were for the most part. Now there's no real depth to most of these characters except for the two main characters here, the boyfriend and the girlfriend. And the boyfriend is portrayed as a total ridiculous klutz, like something like a Screech or a Gilligan or something. And it's never done overboard, and it's played for gags, and there was a couple moments where I did laugh. But I just kind of kept feeling sorry for the guy throughout, but I think that's kind of its intention. It's also to try to portray that she could do better, but, you know, and yeah, I feel like she kind of questions that throughout. Like, should I really be with this guy? But yeah, overall, I was a fan. So I recommend it for those who are interested in this kind of film. It is a foreign film, but over half of it's in English. Like they speak English a lot in it, and I'm not sure what the other language is. Swedish or Norwegian, maybe something like that. But as I said, I think the majority of the film they speak English, but there's a good amount of whatever the other language is in this. But yeah, so if you're somebody who's like, against subtitles, you should fucking stop that because there's so many great subtitled movies. Come on, read. It's good for you. Let me know what you think. Adios.